The Forgotten Asylum Parts 1 and 2. Not everything that is forgotten should remain hidden. Some places are meant to be left alone, but curiosity has a way of finding us. I never thought I'd set foot inside the abandoned asylum. A place whispered about in hushed tones, where the walls remember every scream, every secret, every soul that was lost within. And yet there I was drawn by something I could neither name nor resist. As the gates creaked open and darkness swallowed me whole, I realized one terrifying truth. Once you enter, there is no turning back. Every shadow hides a story. Every whisper carries a warning, and every step might be your last. This is the story of what I found inside the Forgotten Asylum. Asterisk, not to get too deep into backstory, nor disclose too much personal information about myself. But I'll just come right out and say it. I've always been a reclusive person, ever since I was a young kid. I didn't have many friends at all, and I spent most of my time exploring old places in my town, abandoned houses, forgotten streets, and rusting factories. My fascination wasn't just curiosity, it's obsession. It all started when I found the old asylum at the edge of town. People whispered about it in hushed tones. Kids dared each other to get close, but most adults avoided the place like the plague. I wasn't like most people. Something about its emptiness called to me. I remember the first time I saw it, a massive, crumbling structure swallowed by overgrown weeds and tangled vines. Its windows were dark, jagged gashes in a pale, rotting facade. The iron gates were chained shut, but I found a hole in the fence barely big enough to slip through, and that's when I stepped in. Pause for dramatic effect inside. The air was thick with dust and the smell of decay. Every step I took echoed across long hallways, bouncing off cracked walls. The floorboards creaked beneath my feet like the asylum itself was whispering warnings. At first, I thought I was alone, but soon I heard it, a soft, dragging sound from the floor above. My heart thumped in my chest. Tried to convince myself it was just loose debris, rats, maybe the wind. But deep down, I knew better. I climbed the staircase carefully, each step groaning under my weight. At the top, I found a long corridor lined with doors, many hanging open, some sealed shut with old padlocks. The dragging sound continued, echoing, faintly, as if someone or something was moving slowly, deliberately. Then I saw it, shadow, tall and thin, standing at the end of the hall. At first, I thought it was just a trick of the light, but then it moved, smoothly, gracefully, and I realized with a cold shiver crawling up my spine that it wasn't human. Narration pause, whispering tone. It was watching me. I backed away slowly, trying not to make a sound. The shadow didn't follow immediately, but I felt its presence like ice brushing against my spine. My instincts screamed at me to run, but curiosity rooted me to the spot, and that's when I noticed the writing on the walls. Faded, scratched into the peeling paint. Words like, "They never leave. You're already one of us. Don't look behind the doors." Which phrase made my stomach twist. Whoever or whatever had been here before me had been driven to madness. I moved down the corridor, careful to avoid the shadow, and came to a room marked with a rusted metal plate. Room 12, Isolation Wing. The door was slightly ajar. A chill escaped as I pushed it open. Inside, the room was small, claustrophobic. The walls were lined with scratch marks, deep grooves carved into the plaster. In the corner, a chair was bolted to the floor. Chains dangled from its arms, rusted, but still sharp. And in the middle of the floor, I found a journal. The pages were yellowed, brittle with age. I opened it carefully. The handwriting was frantic, sprawling, almost impossible to read. But one line stood out. "They come when the silence is too loud." I can't escape them anymore. Suddenly, the dragging sound grew louder. It was coming from right outside the room. My heart nearly stopped. I held my breath, straining to hear. The shadow passed the doorway, barely visible, but unmistakable. I don't know why I did it, but I followed it. The hallway twisted strangely. Almost impossibly, like the asylum itself was alive, reshaping itself around me. Doors appeared where none had been before. Windows showed darkness that seemed thicker than night. My mind screamed at me to turn back, but I couldn't. And then saw the children. They were small, hunched, their faces pale and featureless, dragging their tiny feet across the floor. Their heads turned slowly in unison to watch me. Mouths opened in silent screams that filled the hallway with a soundless terror. Dramatic pause, heavy breathing sound. I ran down endless corridors that seemed to stretch forever, the sound of the dragging children echoing behind me. I burst through a door and found myself outside, in the courtyard. The sun had set. Darkness enveloped the asylum like a living thing. I thought I was free. I thought I had escaped. But then I saw it again, the shadow, watching from the upper windows, its form flickering like a broken reflection, and I realized something that made my blood run cold. It wasn't just the asylum that was forgotten. It was me. Once you enter, the asylum never lets you go. End of Part 1. Draft ***, The Forgotten Asylum. Part 2. Draft ***, I thought escaping the courtyard meant freedom. I thought leaving that forsaken place behind me was possible. But as I stumbled through the overgrown weeds toward the edge of the property, the feeling of being watched returned. The shadow in the window wasn't gone. It lingered, flickering, in and out of sight, like it was breathing in the darkness itself. My heart raced. My legs burned. And then I heard it, a faint whisper, almost too quiet to notice. "You belong here." I froze. My mind screamed to run, but my body refused to obey. The voice wasn't just in the air, it was inside my head, echoing every thought, every doubt. I realized, with a creeping dread, that leaving was no longer an option. Something was pulling me back. I stumbled toward the main entrance, but the gate had changed. The hole I had slipped through was gone. In its place was solid, rusted metal. No matter where I turned, every exit led me back to the asylum itself. I tried the front doors, locked. Every window I approached was dark, as if the glass itself had swallowed the light. My panic began to rise, threatening to choke me. And that's when I noticed the children again. They were closer this time. No longer crawling along the floors, they floated, as if the very air carried them. Their faces remained featureless, but their gaze, if you could call it, that pierced through me. I could feel their tiny hands reaching, grasping at the edges of my mind. Pause, whispering tone, "Come play with us, .. I ran. I don't even remember how I moved so fast, but I was through corridors that seemed impossibly long. Walls twisted. Unnaturally, doors led to rooms that weren't there before. Shadows darted in every corner, disappearing the moment I tried to focus. In one room, I saw a toe mirror. Not just any mirror, but a full-length one, cracked and blackened at the edges. I stepped closer, and my reflection shifted. My eyes were hollow, my skin pale, almost translucent. And behind me, a figure emerged, tall, thin, shadowy, watching me with an intensity I could feel through bone and marrow. I turned, heart pounding, but the room was empty. The mirror reflected only darkness. I backed away, trying to calm myself. And then I heard it, a soft, wet, dragging sound, closer than before. My breath caught in my throat. The shadow was moving toward me, unseen, but undeniable. Dramatic pause. Heavy breathing sound. I stumbled into a stairwell, descending into the basement. The air grew colder, thicker, almost solid. I could see my breath in front of me, but the shadows here were alive, slithering across the walls, whispering in a language I didn't understand. And then I saw the first body. It was a man sitting against the wall, clothes tattered, eyes wide open but unseeing. His mouth moved, forming words that weren't audible. As I stepped closer, I realized the floor was littered with dozens more silent, motionless, eyes open, each one staring at me. Panic consumed me. I turned to run, but the door I had come through was gone, placed by a long hallway, stretching into endless darkness. From the shadows emerged the children again, their small voices now joined by whispers, chanting in unison, "You cannot leave. You are ours." I ran, zigzagging through corridors, climbing stairs that twisted impossibly, as if the asylum itself were trying to trap me, reshape itself around my fear. And then I reached a room unlike any other. The walls were covered in writing countless. Scribbles, symbols, and phrases carved deep into the plaster. Words like, "the forgotten return." All doors lead inward. Escape is a lie. At the center of the room stood a chair, similar to the one I had seen in room 12, but this one was moved on its own, slowly, deliberately, as if beckoning me. I tried to resist, but my feet carried me closer. The shadows coalesced, forming a figure at the corner of the room. The children circled around, chanting, their faceless heads turning in unison. And the shadow spoke its voice both everywhere and nowhere. "You were meant to join us. You cannot leave. Not now." And in that instant, the chair grabbed me. Cold iron arms wrapped around my wrists, pinning me to the floor. The children's whispers grew louder, louder, until I could hear nothing else. My vision blurred. My heart pounded. My mind screamed. But the asylum had claimed me. I don't know how long I was there. Minutes, hours, or days. Time had no meaning. Every heartbeat echoed like a drum. Every breath was stolen by the cold air. And then I realized something worse than death itself. I was no longer alone in my mind. A presence was inside me now, watching, waiting, whispering, teaching, and I knew, with absolute certainty, that I would never leave the asylum. Not as I was now, not ever.